For the past year or two, there has been a new kind of scam going around where you get a phone call from your bank's phone number telling you that you've been hacked or something that will trigger urgency in you and that you need to move your funds in your account to a new account. This isn't like our other episodes, but I hope it raises awareness on this and saves at least one person from this. In this episode, we'll cover how these scams work, red flags to watch out for, as well as steps to protect yourself from things like this. And by the end, I hope listeners will know how to identify this type of scams and keep their accounts secure. Welcome to the Tech Your Business podcast, where we break down technology so you can apply it to help your business do more and earn more in less time. My name is Peter. I'm the founder of Target ICT, which is a fully remote IT consulting firm, and I'm your host today. Talking about the scam I described earlier, I've heard of it more than once, a couple of times from different sources over the past year. And doing a bit of research, it shows that this type of scam is actually growing rapidly. And one thing I've realized is that for any type of scam or for any type of thing like that to grow or continue to be used, that means it has victims. That means it is being done successfully to people somewhere. And considering the fact that it looks legit, considering the fact that it looks legit because it's actually, if you have this caller identification software on your phone, it actually tells you that it's your bank calling. And it also, considering the fact that it triggers you to act without thinking, I've decided to cover it on today's episode. Apart from that, it's also been a while. I believe it's last year or thereabouts, we last did an episode on cybersecurity. So I believe it's about time. This would be a short episode, probably one of the shortest episodes we've had, but I hope it's useful. That's the most important part. So this type of scam is called number spoofing. So what is number spoofing? If you're aware, you know it's possible apart from the calls you make with your phone, with the SIM card or eSIM on your phone. I'm sure you're aware that it's possible to make phone calls via the internet. That's VoIP, voice over IP, or voice over internet protocol. What these people do is that they get this VoIP and they're able to create phone numbers that look like legit phone numbers using this VoIP. That's the number spoofing. And they use these legit phone numbers to try to or to carry out fraudulent activities. So what they do is that they impersonate probably the fraud department of your bank, and then they claim that there was suspicious activity on your account. They ask for your login details, they ask for your probably security answers or your one-time codes to verify your identity, verify in quotes. And once they're able to get this information from you, they are now able to log into your account to reset your credentials and also drain your funds entirely. It's actually really simple how it works. In another version I heard that they actually call you and then they play out the entire scenario I mentioned before that your account is at risk of a scam and a new sort code and account number has been created for you, and you should give verbal authorization to move your funds from your account to this new account. And when you get this, if you give the level of authorization, they are able to use this to also move your funds from your account. So a lot of us are tech savvy and won't get caught up by things like that. Like for me, I barely even answer my own phone. But for the rest of us, I believe an episode like this, raising awareness on things like this is actually really important. So the next thing I'll talk about is some red flags that you should look out for when getting calls like this. The first thing is obvious, which is your bank calling you. I'm sure you're aware most banks would never ever call you in the first place. You would have to initiate any calls to your bank. And for the banks that call you, they're not going to ask for your personal information. They're not going to ask for your passwords, for your one-time codes, for your logins or anything like that. So that's one thing you should be aware of. But the scary part is that when these scammers call, probably they have access to your information, your personal information, one way or the other. So a lot of times they call you and they have your personal information handy. They're able to tell you things about you that probably only very few people know. And when they say things like this, that maybe you only know you gave to the bank, they're able to put you at ease. So when you receive calls like this, it's advisable to just cut the call and call back yourself, initiate the call yourself, or walk into a branch, a physical branch, if there's still any. A lot of banks are closing their branches. Some of them don't even have branches at all. But if there is a physical branch close to you, it's advisable to walk into the branch. One thing to look out for again is the claim of urgent fraudulent charges, the claim of account access, the claim requiring you to take immediate action. So one thing that's common with frauds is that they typically employ urgency. They typically use urgency because when urgency is triggered in your body, it triggers your fight or flight reflex. Your fight or flight reflex puts you in survival mode. You're ready to save yourself at that point. And when you're in survival mode, you hardly think logically, you just act. So that's how it's a psychological trick they use. So if you purportedly receive a call from your bank or any maybe financial institution, and then you see that urgency is being introduced, you're being told to act immediately, you're being told to act without dropping the phone, without making a confirmation, you're being told to act now or something's going to happen, just be very suspicious, be very, very suspicious. Then, as obviously, like I talked about, request for a username, password, PIN, one-time code, security question, answers, anything like that. that's a no-go area. That's already, it's not even a red flag. It's just don't even bother when they start asking for things like that. Then if also, this is not really common, but if they offer to send a courier to pick up maybe your cash or cards or checks, they usually do that to do this to older people. Say, okay, courier is coming over to pick up your items for safekeeping. Just cut the call. Don't even bother yourself. So I think those are some red flags you should look out for to protect yourself from things like this. And protecting yourself generally, protecting yourself generally from things like this, there are a couple of steps you should take. A lot of people who are victims of this crime, I mentioned earlier that the callers usually have your personal information and they can get your personal information from a lot of ways. First of all, they can buy your personal information from the dark web. There are data breaches where people hack legit sites you gave your information to and put up this information for sale. So these scammers usually buy information from those sources and then try to reach out to the people on there. Then there are also at times maybe you try to you're searching for a job, you fill in job applications. They are actually a lot of fake job applications out there which ask for a lot of personal information which you give because you're desperate or you want to get that job. So you should be really careful with job applications. Try and confirm whatever company you want to apply to or you want to give your personal information to is legitimate. Yes, those are some ways that they get your personal information from. Also phishing, um, phishing with the PH, phishing scams where they email you with a form, a fake login form, or they email you with a fake form. And if you click the link, you fill in that form rather than logging into it. It just tells you that maybe there was an error, but it sends your login details to a database which is controlled by these hackers. So those are some things you should look out for to protect yourself. I mentioned before that you shouldn't share your login details or personal information with anyone. Then for also like the whole topic of this is you shouldn't trust caller ID numbers. They can easily be spoofed. They can easily be cloned. To protect yourself also, if you're suspicious about the call, hang up, like I mentioned earlier, and call your bank directly on the website you get on the number on their website or on your bank statements. Then also monitor your accounts frequently for any unauthorized or strange or scam transactions. If there are any fraud attempts on your bank, report to your bank immediately. Then also use multi-factor authentication. Apart from your usual password, try and use hardware security keys, one-time pins, anything available. Change your passwords regularly. Just basically things like that. But most importantly, be careful where you submit your personal information. So I'm not sure how long this has been, but hopefully it has been a short episode like I promised earlier. And this matters a lot. This really matters a lot because we are trying to protect our hard-earned money. And it really sucks for you to work so hard and someone to come take advantage of you and have access to what you've worked hard for, what you've saved out. And I hope I've been able to raise awareness on this issue from this episode. I hope you learned something new. So did you get any value from this episode? If you did, please share with anyone you know it would help. Please share with if you know probably older people who might be victims of this scam. If you know anyone who might be a victim who this might help, who this would be useful to get in awareness of this scam, please share this episode with them. And if you want to be the first to know when we post more helpful content like this, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to or watching it on. So one episode that would go great with this episode is episode 11, one of the first episode, which is tips to protect your business from cyber threats. So I think you would really love listening to that. You can just scroll down. It's about 50, 60 something episodes away. You can just scroll down, listen to that. If any of the other episodes catch your fancy, schedule them, add them to your playlist, listen to them, and till Next episode, stay safe, protect your personal details, and keep taking your business. Bye for now.